So I just wanted to make a short channel update video here because I haven't been on YouTube in quite some time, and I felt like it was important to kind of just explain what I'm doing back on the platform and kind of what my angles are and why I'm back. So a long time ago, almost 6 and 8 years ago, I was uploading content for a small little freelance business I did where I made open simulator hosting services. I'm no longer in that business, and I still have a little bit of fun with OpenSim from time to time, so there will be some of that content on here. That said, I do have some plans for new content that you may have been seeing over the past couple, I want to say week or two, and that is I want to remake a lot of my old guides. Is one of the first things I want to do, because a lot of them are very outdated and they still get views, and some of them don't work anymore or they've changed, and just the old video quality is crappy and it has music in the background that's like overpowering what I was saying. So I want to take a more professional approach with it. I have a more professional microphone now. I'm learning to edit my audio, so if you hear a lot of roughs and stuff, I'm trying to learn how to remove all that. I'm trying to learn how to make everything sound better. And that said, that is my focus, to remake those videos as professionally as I can and give a more professional, more updated, more high resolution video for those guides. So I want to remake a lot of that. I'm also wanting to do a weekly gaming stream. Typically it's going to be around tabletop, and it's going to be just a couple of friends who I have who have agreed to come on and live stream with me. Agreed to come and live stream with me so that we can do some really cool stuff with the Tabletop Simulator. It's got so many cool features. You can do so much with Tabletop Simulator. There's so many games. And you can see with our first one is already on the channel, where I played Uno and Clue. Honestly, just skip to the section where we play Life. It's really hilarious. Keep in mind, it is a more not safe for work video, because we are saying some stuff that, again, not geared towards children and not necessarily PG. So keep that in mind. Nothing too crazy or adultish, but it's just fun, good humor. That said, I also want to make new tutorials. And those new tutorials are going to be things like the Linux VM stuff that I use, KVM. I do that for my gaming rig. I don't want to run Windows on my hardware directly, because Windows can break all the time and I like it virtualized, so I pass through a graphics card to it. And there is some good content out there, but honestly, it's really hard to find a good tutorial for the situation that I have specifically that's in video format, which is someone who runs a Ryzen processor, and I have to do all this crazy ACS patching. But thankfully there is guides out there, but no one's really made a good way of doing it, so I'd like to cover that. I want to remake one of my open simulator tutorials because I still see that there's a market for that, and really don't like seeing everyone running it on Windows, because one, that's a cost, and two, that is also running on Windows, and I've seen OpenSim grids get hacked and be infected with ransomware, and they lose all their stuff. So I'd like to get them off of that. And then also, I have like a little mini home lab that I'd like to show other people. Basically doing home lab on the cheap, because I live in a place where electricity is a little pricey, and number two, I don't have a lot of space, and it's really expensive to run full server grade equipment. So I have like a small mini home lab that I want to show of how I did it, and maybe inspire other people to show that they can build a home lab really easy and really simple as well. And I also want to take some time to do some opinion/review videos. I'm not really sure what it'll be just yet. Probably some stuff around reviewing some Linux software that I use or has come out and I find really exciting. I want to give my opinion and share my view on it. And the reason there's such a wide variety is right now I don't know what's going to stick. I don't know what the interest is going to be. So I want to do this for me, but I also don't want to make content that no one's going to watch. So over time, we'll figure out exactly what it is that people want to see from me over all those topics. I'll try to keep them broken out, and they will come out and go into the respective playlists. So if you want to subscribe to me and don't necessarily turn on notifications, and because if you're like me, you just go to your subscription page and you look at what was new and what captures your interest, and you can find out from there if it's something you want to watch or not. So finally, I want to cover what made me return to YouTube. And the reason I returned to YouTube is because I really, really wanted to make content. Because a lot of people, well, in the beginning I not necessarily did, I just wanted to make things again. I used to do some programming and some coding for some online interfaces and technology and stuff, and that's something that I really enjoyed doing. But now I want to kind of create that outlet, because a lot of people who are in my personal life have told me, hey, you should really talk about it or show off what you do because you're really passionate. You buy all these electronics that come out of nowhere, things like I have a Pinebook Pro and a Pine phone just because I was like, oh, this is cool tech and I want to play with it. And I kind of want to share my opinions and views on stuff like that. I also want to talk about, you know, the cool software that I use and the cool things that I learn about, because I've always been an early adopter of things, and I think a lot of people end up using the things later on in life, and then like, I talked about that, why didn't you use it when I did? Well, I didn't know, so maybe I should use a platform to talk about the things I enjoy as an early adopter. And honestly, I just really needed a hobby outside of work. I'm a Unix and Linux system administrator by day, and I spend more than 8 hours a day typically working on tons of servers, hundreds to thousands, and it's just very long, tedious hours, and I need a creative outlet and a hobby, and I couldn't really get into anything else because I like tech. I enjoy my day job. It's just I want, I guess, to talk about what I do. Now, I can't talk about my work because, you know, I want to keep work separate from a hobby, but I can talk about the stuff that I'm excited about being a Linux person, and I'm excited about the different open source software. And these will probably be things I don't even use at work because, you know, most businesses don't want to adopt with the fast and latest, greatest stuff right away. And I kind of want to give a shout out to a couple of YouTubers that have kind of inspired me to just pick up and go with this. And first one I want to talk about is one I've been watching for a couple years now, and he's been making a lot more content, and that's EG. EGIO. Really awesome Linux YouTuber. Currently does a series called Distro Delves. They used to do some programming and tutorial stuff as well. But the reason I've always enjoyed their content versus a lot of the other Linux stuff is, one, I kind of had a thought they were a furry because they used to have like a little cat, but now it's definitely a furry and confirmed. It says character art. But besides that part, he is a Linux YouTuber who doesn't follow the same narrative I see on a lot of Linux channels, where it's like Linux, only Linux, free open source software, only use Linux and FOSS, where he's more practical, talks about, you know, the features, points out where, you know, the practicality of Linux, the practicality of using as a daily driver, and all the practical reasons and features of Linux. And just, it's a lot more, in my opinion, content that I find more open, and it's not so much kind of the Linux audience that you typically see. It's more of a wider range audience. I feel like this content appeals to more people than just outside the Linux ecosystem because of that, and I like the more open-mindedness and not FOSS, because he used to record some of his videos on a Windows machine. I remember he talked about a long time ago. It's just like, I use a capture card to capture all this stuff on a Windows machine, and He may or may not still do that, I don't know. But, you know, it's stuff like that that I love that he's practical about it. And I'm kind of the same way. I'm a practical Linux user. I mean, I love FOSS stuff. I love to talk about FOSS stuff. I love to use FOSS stuff. For those who don't know what FOSS is free open source software. But in reality, in the real world, sometimes when you just need to get work done, you use the tools that are there that work for you. And if that's Windows, use Windows. If that's Mac, use Mac. If it's Linux, use Linux. Or if it's multiple platforms or a proprietary piece of software or hardware, use what works for you. You know, that's all I have to say about that. And then I have to kind of call out what kind of gave me another thing of just wanting to go out there and record whatever's on my mind and just start uploading. And that was to this one channel that's a little controversial. Some Ordinary Gamers. I really enjoy his content, most of his content. Does virus investigations. He runs a major Linux rig, kind of like I do a KVM pass-through, where he has multiple VMs. He spins them up. He does his own testing, uses Linux as the base, but runs all of his computers and VMs and uses them as his primary workstation. So kind of like I do for all my gaming, it's all in a Windows VM. And I love that because it's isolated, it's away from everything else, and it's only used for gaming and has nothing else on it. And it's really cool to do stuff like that, and that's why I really like his content. And he's just a no-frills person, says what he wants to, and just uploads what he wants on his channel. And it's kind of giving me the idea of, you know, I can do that too. And I'm not doing this necessarily for the money or anything. I'm doing this because it is my place to speak, and if people want to follow me and enjoy the content I make, cool. If you don't, you know, you don't have to follow me. This is like a blog in a sense, where or a website that's yours. You don't have to enjoy the content or not. This is my place to upload and say what I want to say, and if you enjoy it, you'll follow me. If you don't, you won't. And I kind of like that. And the other one that kind of gave me that same sort of thrill is Technology Connections. I just love sitting there and looking at all this cool stuff that he uploads, and it's so cool to just be like, I found a thing that I think was really cool. I'm going to investigate the shit out of it and figure out what it is that makes it tick, and then I'm going to make a video about it and show people. And it's just, I love that thinking mentality, and that's kind of what I want to do with this channel and for some of the stuff. And then finally, the one that's kind of kicked me in the butt, and as you know, if you want to do something and try and build a side hustle or hobby that can turn into something that where you don't have to do your day job or whatever, and do a job that you care about and love, is Joshua Fluke on YouTube as well. Kind of listening to some of his stuff has given me the goal to be like, you know, let's just do this, Tim. Let's put yourself out there and just say what's on your mind. Just do it, because every minute you're not doing something for yourself is just another few hours or life ticked away at someone else making money off of you instead of you being passionate about what you're doing. Again, not to say that I don't love my day job, because I really enjoy working with Linux computers, but it just leaves this empty void of, cool, I make a decent amount of money now doing Linux system administration, but all I do is this for several hours a day, several days a week, almost every day of a week almost. And all I really had to show for it is a couple awards from my work, which don't really equate to anything, and a few certifications just to show that I know what I'm talking about. So I want to do something for me, and this is for me giving myself something for myself. So sorry for the little bit of rant. Sorry about just talking about all this stuff out loud, but I wanted to get it on record and just say I'm back. I'm going to try and do this as much as I can, upload at least 3 times a week at minimum, because I want to get myself back on track with creating content that I can be passionate about, talk about, and have a platform to give myself a place to say what's on my mind, and hopefully give myself that sense of I'm doing something for me, and I'm getting, you know, that feeling of I'm leaving a mark on the world type of thing. So thank you very much for listening. If you want to follow me on this journey, please go ahead and click subscribe. And if you like this video, also give it a like. And hope to see you around. Thank you.